doing all of these adventures, I then settled down in Thailand 2 years. I was a scuba diving instructor, Muay Thai fighter. Great 2 years, but I was starting to get a bit restless then. I was like, okay, 2 years is enough. I want to do more adventures, and I started to miss all of my previous. And then I was kind of like, what can I do next that's going to be bigger, better, more badass than the previous adventures that I've done? And I wanted it to be a hike and not a cycle, because I'd done like lots of different variations and modes of transport, whereas I wanted this to be more survival based. And yeah, I was kind of planning that. It went from doing 100 miles to then deciding I'm going to walk the entire length, 1,500 miles. I thought best way to go about it is find those people who have done it before. I got more teams involved. We realized that someone had attempted 3 times but failed on all 3 occasions. But I reached out to this guy. I sort of put an email together. What dangers do I look out for? And he was a nice guy. He got back saying you need to watch out for the drunken nomadic drifters, the grey wolves, the sandstorms, the snow blizzards, the steep ravines, the stagnant water, the dry wells. The list went on and on and on. And it was more than I anticipated. I remember thinking, fuck, that's a lot of dangers for a 22-year-old beach bum living on an island. You know what I mean? And I was like, well,
I've been scuba diving for 2 years.
Yeah, you know? And I realized he was a soldier. He was a desert explorer. He was in his 30s or 40s. And this was enough to put me off slightly. I stopped planning Mongolia for a few weeks and started to look at European countries, safer, more people. But then, I realized just because he didn't find a way to do it doesn't mean it can't be done. And if I get the right logistical team, do the right preparation, the right training, maybe I can complete this journey. So I decided, to pursue it. I gave up my life in Thailand. I flew back to the UK with £200 to my name. Had to live with my mum and dad. Couldn't afford gym membership. Had a tractor tire chopped off in my back garden where I would flip this tractor tire, beat it with a sledgehammer. So all of the training for a world first was done in my back garden.
I love that.
And the budget was roughly about $5,000.
That's just proof, honest, by the way, that you don't need money to do anything.
Right? The insurance was invalid because they don't support unsupported trips to Mongolia. We had the flights, we had the electronics. And so after that all sort of went, I had about $1,000 left whilst I was there now in the country to make it happen. Couldn't afford a decent trailer to pull behind, factory made sort of carbon fiber, lightweight trailer. That wasn't happening. It was a family friend who built it in his backyard. Wow. So it was mild steel. So already carrying nothing, it's 40 kilograms whilst empty.
Yeah.
It's, but again, yeah, you're bang on. And I think I learned that from the likes of the Vietnam cycle, £10 bicycle, off we go.
Yeah.
Yes, reckless, maybe, but also very sort of astute and making the most of what you've got, And I think a lot of people don't really do that.
I think people and businesses, I think one of the reasons why we've done as well as we have, obviously we're not even scratching the surface of where we need to be and where we want to be yet,
right?
Is we have no budget. There is no budget for marketing. There is no budget for that, this, that, and the other. Yeah. It's right, okay, we need to make that happen. All right, so how can we do it for free?
Yeah, it's the way, right?
And personal branding, I'll get into it in a minute, but that's where most of my make it happen for free has come from. I'm how can I reach loads of people? I have no budget to market this. Mm-hmm. I need to reach 1 million people. Can't afford to buy data or phone call lists or pay any more marketing companies. So how the fuck am I going to do that?
Right.
Get them to come to me.
Yeah.
That's the cheapest way.
That's so cool.
So yeah.
So there's ways, isn't there?
There's ways.
It's just sort of thinking outside the box, is it? And doing it differently when it comes to business.
Yeah.
It's not sort of following the trend. It's kind of remapping your own route in business in a way.
Yeah. And I also think that companies that often get called the most disruptive or innovative or whatever are always the ones that are the scrappiest.
Right.
They're always the ones who are waiting for the crumbs at the end and they make the most with the crumbs as opposed to getting a big fat slice of the cake and it's already made. We don't have that option. It's this or nothing.
Yeah.
So you take the crumbs and you do what you can with the crumbs.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Otherwise,
when there's no other option, I guess
there isn't.
That does spur you on even more, doesn't it?
There is no other option.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. You were saying that, you flew back to the UK with £200 to your name. It's quite reminiscent of when I founded this business. Obviously, I wasn't tracking the world, but I quit my job to start this business. I had no savings. Like, it was literally, this works or we're fucked. Like, my mortgage was due in two weeks time. You know, I had kids in childcare that I needed to pay for, ex-husband who wasn't making any money. So it was on me. It was like, burn the boats. We're doing this. And if it doesn't work, we're all going down. And I think it was that actually meant that at least the first sort of 3 to 6 months was really profitable, because I was like, well, probably like you, if we don't keep moving forwards, then I'm screwed. Yeah. Because there's a bear behind me. Yeah. There's wolves behind me, right? Yeah. Except mine were mortgage brokers.
The sharks.
Yeah, right. You had bears, I had sharks.
Yeah.
But it's the same kind of thing. It's like, well, what's the alternative? Like, stand still and die? No, you have to keep.
You've got to do
going.
What make the most of what you've got in that moment in time, because, you know, if you work hard enough, that will change, and then that will be a good story, just as it is now, you know?
Yeah.
And the grind is still very much there. But you've got sort of that experience now. You know your capabilities more, right? Because you've been in much worse situations. And so if you have to really push hard again, you know, you've got it. And I love that.